Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So I know it's late, later than usual. So I'm sure that probably only like real night owls are going to be up tonight. Sorry that I got back late, but I didn't want to miss out on a chance to do a storyline with you guys. Feels good to be feeling more like myself again. So I wanted to hang out with you guys if I get a chance. All right, let's go ahead and take a little peek at the topic of love on this one. Three of Sacred Circles. Oh, somebody might be all cuddly, all snuggly. AC, so wonderful to see you, sweetie. How are you and how's your babe, huh? It's good to see you. Ginger Montague, Cosmic Honey Mothership, Luminous Marino, GR, Carolyn Dean. Hi, babe. Hi, Lori. So nice to see you all tonight. AC, didn't you say your baby fell? You said your baby is like 18 and had a fall. Is he doing okay? Anyway, just thinking of you. Nikki, oh, nice to see you, babe. We have definitely we have some energy here of time to snuggle, time to kind of hunker down, and maybe it's to hunker down for the winter time. It might be an opportunity for two people that could be technically very different to find a space that they can, I'll just say, enjoy one another. And maybe this is to enjoy one another's company. Hi, 11:8. Maybe this is to enjoy one another's comfort. Maybe this is just in general um, to enjoy being around, friendship, companionship. We do have that Wheel of Fortune upright, and then we have the Empress. And if anything, it's definitely like beyond time for our characters to be able to have something really lovely, something really just supportive, and some place that they can kind of relax and maybe even start thinking about a future. This is not just like, oh, hey, let me get booed up to cuddle with somebody for the winter, right? It's not just that. It's almost more like, I want to say two characters are ready to like lay down the hatchets, or just say, I would rather be with you. And I think things are getting real, or they certainly could be. This is the right time for, even if two people are just now meeting each other, this is the right time for a real serious connection to start to form. This winter could be a very magical time. Now, I'm in the in the southern hemisphere. I wish I was. I'm in the northern hemisphere, so we're going into winter, and I would much rather be in the southern hemisphere. Shout out to all my friends down in Australia, New Zealand. Really, I love the fact that I know there's like a big watch group from New Zealand and Australia, and it just so warms my heart. But I'm thinking of you guys right now and wishing I was hanging with y'all as well, because I'm not a winter baby. I love fall, but I don't love winter. But in this storyline, it doesn't matter where our character is, that it doesn't matter what the weather is. It still says that in the next, quote unquote winter, regardless of what hemisphere our character may be in, something very special is coming together. You notice that they're just now starting to cross paths, and we see the star is bringing them to the same point. So there could be a divine intervention. Now, one could be an earth sign, one could be an air sign. I just say that because we have a bear and we have an eagle. And we see it here as well, the bear and the eagle symbols. That could be their different respective like totem animal or spirit animal. Since I brought up, Australia, I know that there's totem animals in the Australian Aboriginal culture. And there's some wonderful creation stories that I've read about in regards to how each one of the different groups of people were like given one of the totem animals, and that was also partly to like balance out even like the hunting and like food cycle as well. And so just kind of very interesting like way to look at the balance of nature. Anyway, just as a side note, maybe that has something to do with this. I feel like there's a very spiritual component to this, and it may have something to do with spirit animals, spirit guidance. Everything is getting easier and calmer. This is characters that are willing now, able, and very, comfortable with the idea of long-term companionship, love, relationship. I kind of keep wanting to say more companionship. Oh, Carol, you sweetheart. Oh my God, Carol, thank you, babe. Thank you so much. Shout out to you in Australia, babe. You're so sweet. Thank you, honey. You guys are so amazing. Hi, everyone. Sleep Princess, 11D8, Samira. You guys are so amazing. Thanks for being here. Oh, AC, I hear you. Your puppy's got arthritis, but he's on some meds and seems to be doing well. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that. Annette Summersby, thank you again so much, Carol. You're so kind. Air Bubble, hey, babe. Shout out to you in England. So this is a story of companionship, but now we can actually go ahead and say, oh, it's definitely divine. This is the right time. I feel like these characters are maybe a little bit more mature. They may look very young. I picture two people that have like a really great aura, really great spirit about them. Doesn't matter what age they are, but they're in a really peaceful space in their energy. And maybe that's why this is the time of their lives, the time of the year. It just feels like before this year's over, we have a love story. I don't know. How are these two being brought together? Can we see that? Because that's probably the most like juicy bit for me. Like, how are they meeting? Where are these two going? Okay, so could be on a dark and lonely night, could be at a time where one of them is simply walking by the seashore. It could be a full moon. It could be just a particularly bright evening, or there could be some great, lamps along like a boardwalk or something. Could be somebody's out for their nightly stroll, kind of in deep contemplation. They could literally be thinking about things like relationship and partnership as they're kind of meandering. Could be a Virgo is one of them. We have the star. We definitely keep seeing there is something about the star. I bet if these two were to look it up, they might be born under a similar star. There's different stars associated. I want to say for Virgo, at least for a particular, you have to kind of look at your birth date, the actual day. But sometimes there'll be like a component of time where the star will associate with like, a week and a half time of birth dates or something. But I want to say like the star of Regulus, that really comes to my mind right now. And I can't think of what the attributes are that go along with it, but I know that hits on some Virgo dates. I don't know if there's a particular, maybe this is Polaris, or maybe this is just more of that thought process of, the star that the three wise men followed. Maybe that's what we're talking about here. Something about the stars are guiding these two, but I almost feel like it's got to do with location. It has to do with like two people born under the same star or under the same star sign. I know we have an Aquarius and a Virgo here, so it's not necessarily like they'd be the same sun sign or something. That's why I'm thinking it's more got to do with either locations on Earth, like they were born, in the same area or something. There's too many stars involved. We have it here, we have it here, we have it here. There's a reason these two are going to be at the same place at the same time. And it's not just because it's happenstance. There's something deeper at work here. Okay, so we definitely have, and remember the star card can be about healing. And now we have that Virgo, which is the wounded healer, is another name for the Hermit card. And then we have that 9 of Wands, which is the wounded warrior. So we definitely have possibly a masculine who's had considerable healing that he's been doing. And perhaps that process is what leads him to her, but she might have been doing something similar. Maybe this is why they're both out at night. You notice the similarities. Maybe they like to walk at night. Maybe they like to go someplace. I will say, the ocean at night is so amazing. It's so, obviously walk in a careful place. Don't be out on the beach during high tide, or forget or not know what your tide tables are if you live near the sea. But I'm picturing like somebody on the boardwalk or something. But it just feels like there's this energy of they're very comfortable. They know the water well, or they know a location pretty well. I don't know if these two were like sailors in a past life or what, but there's something to do with letting the stars navigate them toward one another. But we have a decidedly like nighttime vibe. And the way that they're like intuitively navigating is how they cross paths. Obviously, these two have to meet because they're meant to meet. They're a 2 of Cups. But do we have any energy here that suggests that they have already met? Or is this pure, like, the gravitational pull? Ooh, we have a 6 of Cups. They are soulmates, in addition to 2 of Cups. This could mean that they have met in a past life. We see totally different dynamics here. So yeah, maybe, I mean, this is like a, a royal alchemist or something working in his dungeon with his young apprentice, So it could be that in a past life, these two had no romance whatsoever. They were born into a completely different, cycle of life where it was like student and teacher. But it was always still talking about alchemy. And then, throughout lifetimes, maybe they both gravitated toward, still understanding like alchemy. And what are we doing? We're transmuting, we're transforming, we're becoming different versions of ourselves until finally in this lifetime, maybe these two souls are no longer student and teacher, but instead they're actually at a place where they're equals. And maybe that's why we now have a potential for a love story, because these two souls always had something kindred about them, but there wasn't any possibility of a love story until they were on equal footing in this lifetime. We could look at it like that. Or it could literally be that these two knew each other once upon a time and it just wasn't, they weren't ready for one another. I don't feel that for these ones. I feel like this almost comes across like these are two people who haven't met in this lifetime, but they certainly have some underlying thread that runs between them. And we have the Tower. They're also both in such a great place energetically. They're so like open to possibly, I don't know, possibly being in that like open-minded, something about my energy right now tells me I'm ready for somebody and it's coming in fast. It almost feels like these characters are having this sudden moment of awareness, maybe on some, late night walk or stroll. And they're like, this is so weird. I can tell I'm about to end up with somebody before this year is out. Something is changing in my life. It's almost like sensing that there's an approaching important person in their lives. And I just feel like both of them must be in this mindset where they go, I don't know why I know, I just know. And I don't have to question it or freak out about it. Sometimes when you know it before it happens. I have definitely had things like that in my own life. Someday we'll have to just do a chit chat session where we kind of like delve into like the moments, because I know everybody probably has some things where it's like, I just knew. And it can be little things, it can be big things. It's not always about like love, but just moments in life where it's like, no, I would stake everything I've got on this. I know this. I know this is happening, or I know this did happen, or I know this. And there's not any logical reason. You just know. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just strange that sometimes it's as you're certain as, the fact that, you can feel your own fingertips and those are real too. And I kind of think that might be what these two are going through. There's too much, energy in this storyline that is working with the flow of the cosmos and past life and things that don't really make sense, but at the same time they make perfect sense. Like, how are we here at all, right? What's the magic, the mystery of us being here in the first place? All the things that had to go just right so that in this entire huge galaxy we've got this particular collection of planets and the distance from us to the sun and us to the moon and the way those things act upon Earth and our perfect, gravitational force field that holds us on the Earth's surface, and all these things that have to be so perfect for our planet to even host life. That is an amazing thing. Mind-bending, in fact. So if that can be true, even though it's inexplicable, then how many other things could be true that are inexplicable? So I just kind of feel like these characters are, it's not that they're not grounded. It's just that they're in a place where they can completely accept, for some reason, I know what I know. I'm going to say what I have to say. We come and we go. I think that's Paul Simon off of Graceland album. With that Tower, this is where fear is just gone. These characters do not fear, trusting whatever this intuition is, that somebody very important is coming into my life before winter's end. Now, to me, though, bear in mind, I'm not talking about it like it has to be this year necessarily, although I do usually look at the Wheel of Fortune as a year's time. But winter, at least where I'm from, winter really gets cooking around April. February, April. So, it can be different depending on the region of the world you're in. And again, we have not just the Queen of Wands, but we have her with this massive ruby emanating from her third eye, and her eyes are closed. I don't think that we have just average characters in this story. We've seen the Empress is aware that this is coming in. The Empress, I would argue, is still that Queen of Wands. I would argue that she is like emanating something. She may be the first person who senses somebody is close to me or somebody is approaching me that is going to be a very important love story for me. It could be our feminine or whomever is in the feminine role being very aware of that. But it's really cool because it's just, there really isn't any question mark. It just is. We have the Lovers. This is one of my favorite Lovers card because it is so 70s. It is so amazingly 70s. Like they've got, I don't know, everything here. I just look at him as like he could be in like, oh God, like the Bee Gees or something. He could be in, at one point in time, like just having big curly natural hair. It was like all the rage, men and women alike. Like everybody just, like let their hair, or remember like even in the 80s, like we were crimping our hair and stuff. At one point in time, like it wasn't the sleek look that became more popular like in the 2000s where everybody's like, making their hair really, really straight. I curl my hair every day because I want to give it body. I don't have body in my hair. So I'm not joking when I say I love this card because it just feels like I'm hearing all kinds of funky 70s music. And for some reason, it just totally appeals to me. This au naturel and very much like, make love, not war kind of energy coming off of this. That Lovers card is so nice. I have to cover it because although we don't see them, we know they don't have clothes on, and it's just the silhouette, which I have no issue with. I think it's nothing inappropriate at all, but I don't run YouTube. So this story, we're not going to get any different messages here. We have two people completely unafraid to make very prolonged eye contact. We have two people sensing one another's approach, or that something very important is about to happen, that this is the last part of a winter that they're not going to be wrapped up in somebody's arms. I really feel like these two are going to spend considerable amounts of time during cold months snuggied up together. And it almost feels like they both know it, even though it hasn't happened quite yet. They both know it and they're both unafraid of it, and they're both totally welcoming it in. Maybe because they want it now. This is the phase of their life where they want it. Can we just ask universe, is there any like either final message on this or any advice on this? Let me see. Samira, aren't the Bee Gees great? Oh, there's so many amazing Bee Gees tracks. I really didn't know how many amazing Bee Gees songs there were until I went to see actually it was the Australian Bee Gees, speaking of Australia again, in Vegas. They were fabulous. It was such a good show. And I didn't even know I was going to enjoy it like that. And then I was like, I know every single song. I really kind of forgot how many great hits Bee Gees had. But oh my God, that was such a great show. I saw it a couple times in Vegas. We have a 9 of Cups. We have a 2 of Pentacles. The universe is saying plain and simple. You notice how we have 2 different worlds here, right? And then we have this like yellow brick road connecting them. It almost feels like there was always a bond between these 2 hearts. I mean, obviously there had to have been because we saw soulmate energy, we see 2 of Cups energy, but we can see that there's this thread or this pathway from one to the other. And it was like they were always going to find their way to each other, but things had to get balanced for each of them before this could happen. They both had to be really happy. And that required healing, and that required just kind of like getting into this much better space. There's still something that I'm missing out of this story. Universe, can you tell me what it is? Because I'm reluctant to close this yet. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm not grabbing. We have a 7 of Swords. We have the Magician. For, I'm going to say possibly a long time, these characters fought what they knew. Like maybe this is two very magical individuals who have always had the gift of like foresight, seeing into the future a bit, almost to the point where maybe they both knew I probably won't end up in a, the partnership that really clicks until I'm, whatever, X amount of years old. Like I could picture these being characters who, like, at 12 years old said, oh, I'm not going to be married until I'm, 45, 55, whatever. I just know I won't. No, I won't meet my person until later. I could see like some weird off the wall sentence having been blurted out at one point, because I kind of think that these characters have lots of weird premonitions, but they learned how to either deny them, fight them, hide them. And it's so crazy because it's not even, I don't even know that I would go so far as to say that they're master manifestors so much as they are characters that understand, look, Year of the Snake is very important because we actually have the snake skin back here. We have that symbol of infinity symbol. So maybe, these two are on like the Chinese cycle. Year of the Snake is Chinese symbolism. So maybe they're on like a 12-year cycle or something. Maybe if they look back in their ancestry, there will be some ancestor that they feel more connected to, but maybe that's an iteration of themselves from way back when. There's something here. I wonder if they looked deep enough into their past, if they would discover that, one of their ancestors knew the other person's ancestor, but I wonder if that was really them all along. It almost feels like these two are gifted with some kind of ability to either, like I said, see into the future. And I would say that because we have two cards that make me think that, and both of them are first coming from our feminine. Right? She holds the crystal ball right here. And then she literally has a third eye that is, emanating a gigantic ruby. Both of those look like somebody who can see into the future. Meanwhile, they're coming across as this hermit, this wizened individual. So, and then we also had them in the soulmate where they were that Six of Cups card where we saw them as, ancient alchemists. I definitely think that these two have way too many lifetimes together. And maybe that's the part that I've been like wrestling with, because they seem to have fought this, pretended, no, that couldn't be true. I wonder if these two have a lot of deja vu moments, or a lot of moments of distinct clarity of, no, I don't think I should do that, or now's not the right time. And they get those little moments in their life. But I wonder if it's just because there is something more intuitive, more psychic about them. I don't think this is the first thing that they've just known in their life, but I do think that they squash that and hide it quite a bit. Interesting. So these two are not your average folk. Maybe they really were great alchemists in a past life. Maybe that whole philosopher's stone and the idea, ancient alchemists were tasked with two things, right? So the very wealthy in the past wanted the alchemists to find a way to make something, anything, into gold. So transmutation of anything and make it into gold, because we want to be richer and richer. Not unlike common people who crave wealth. That greed, that desire for power, for money never goes away, no matter what era we live in. Talk about reincarnation, right? Greed reincarnates too. But then the other thing that the ancient alchemists were tasked with is make it so that we can live forever. So the rich wanted to be wealthy and they wanted to live forever. And that's who would employ the ancient alchemists. And it's just interesting because I wonder if these two were ancient alchemists in a past life. Maybe they figured out not exactly how to live forever, but the to me, perhaps we always live forever because we have our ancestors, and every ancestor that came before us, we are the product of all those other lifetimes that had to happen before we got here. And we carry their genetic traits and we carry on their life story. So part of their life story is part of us. And we carry on the maternal lineage, in our DNA. Our mitochondrial DNA comes from our maternal side. And it is like, in that sense, there is a reincarnation perhaps. But I'm thinking that these two took it a little further. Maybe if they were ancient alchemists, maybe that whole concept meant something more to them. but maybe they are particularly gifted. There's something very special about these two. For them to sense one another's approach, arrival, and for them to both have known that this is about the time in their life where this would occur, and for them to both be open to it and unquestioning of it and just ready for it. This is a very magical, mystical story, and I love these ones. It's all about the fun stories. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. You guys, thank you so much. Really good to see you all. Air Bubble, thanks for being here. 11:08. Oh my God. Oh, you're cracking me up. Spiritually awakened, Wendy. You've been on the beach at night and it wasn't just a fishtail. Hi, Linda. Goddess Neva, nice to see you. You guys are so fun. Air Bubble, you're too cute. TLB, wonderful to see you, babe. Linda, you're so sweet. You had a magnificent sunset today. The whole western sky was orange, creamsicle, and a rainbow in the bright blue eastern sky. Oh, that sounds amazing. How beautiful. You just totally painted such a beautiful picture in my mind. Thank you for that. Slave Princess, so lovely to see you, love. Yeah, Samira, there's definitely a lot of stars on those cards, huh? Hi, Mariska, GOSC10P. Hi. Laverne, hi, babe. Carol, thank you again so much. Brave Pink Hero Green, right back at you, babe. Hi. Oh, Ginger Montague, that sounds heavenly. Still in the upper 80s in Arizona. Oh, I love that. It's like, that is so delightful. I love the warmth. So, and AC, you take good care of you and your baby. So nice to hear from you tonight. I'm going to hop on over to the other channel. We're going to do a today's topic live tonight, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, we are going to go live on both channels tomorrow for about 30 minutes and do some storytelling. That'll probably happen in the middle of the day on Friday, in middle of the day for my time zone, right? So probably somewhere around like 2-ish, 3-ish, somewhere right in there is what I'm aiming for tomorrow. All right. I send you guys lots of love. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Bye, you guys. Take care.